Hi guys, I'm Danny, and I started a Sunday Jam because I've noticed lately that people tend to go to colleges and universities without actually knowing why they're there. And afterwards, starting jobs that are unfulfilling. So I'm interviewing different professionals to see what they have to say and share their knowledge and experience with you. I hope you enjoy it. Well, Robert, thanks for being with me. How are you today?
I'm great, thank you so much, Danny. How are you doing today?
Quite splendid. Everything is fine. My
Good.
program will be focused on three main questions. What do you do for a living? How did you get there? And how did you knew that this was the way to go? So that's what you do for a living, please.
I'm a professional musician, which is quite a wide-ranging word, I suppose. Really, I could do lots of things, but most of the time, I'm either conducting orchestras, not just classical. I do pop, rock, all sorts of hybrid things as well. But conducting orchestras. I also compose a lot of music for symphony orchestras for films. I also do quite a bit of record production and producing singers who want to have these fantastic sounding albums with a symphony orchestra behind them. And I'm also a passionate musical educationist, so I'm a great believer in spreading the word about how amazing classical music can be, how amazing orchestral instruments can be, and let's face it, watching Star Wars without that amazing John Williams theme
Yeah,
tune would be completely rubbish. So that sort of highlights immediately there how powerful symphonic classical music can be. And I do fit John Williams as a composer within that genre. And the last thing I do is write and produce with my composing partner meditation music for live orchestras. As far as we're aware, we're the only people in the world to do this, and we just launched a week ago, and super excited by that. It's a really unusual project.
that's quite amazing. Please send me the link because this channel is mostly on LinkedIn, and
I will do.
it sounds
Orchestralmeditations.com.
yeah, just it will be done, of course.
Yeah,
And
perfect.
now my second question is, how did you get there? And this is why I wanted you because I simply love talking to people like you. I love talking to musicians, authors, painters, people of art. And the
Mm.
reason I love it is because I am the total opposite. I knew exactly what I was going to do when I was 15 or 16. I'm a 9 to 5 guy, and if you're my boss, we have to have a very good relationship if I have to stay 5 minutes after five. So normally
Oh.
but you, I'm sure, because I've known people like you all my life. You don't have 9 to 5. It's
Mm,
when it
no.
happens.
Well,
I am,
it's not only that, Denny, actually. I would say it's 24/7. And it's not
yeah,
even just when it happens. I mean, some weeks I can work 110 hours, and it's just non-stop. And I suppose the difference is, like recording a podcast like today. You get to the end of your chat, you turn off the podcast, you press end, and the whole thing finishes. And then you spend a bit of time uploading it, and then it's done. Being a musician, you never finish. You've always got music to learn, music to write, music to produce. You've always got a list of projects as long as your arm. And it's always hustling to try and find the next job, the next gig, where the next dime comes from to put a roof over your head. And it's the most amazing, rewarding career to have, but it's also one of the hardest careers to have
yeah.
because you can never stop being a musician. It's in every fiber of my being. So I can never turn off. There is no 5 o'clock for me, or even 5 past 5 with your boss. It just doesn't exist. And going back to your question, how did I start? Well, you said you knew what you wanted to be when you were 15. I think I knew what I wanted to be when I was about 7.
Yeah,
And
people
that's
like
when I
you are like
started,
that.
yeah, that's when I started playing the piano. And I knew quite quickly, this is what I wanted to do in my life. I didn't know how, I wasn't bright enough to have a grand plan. I just knew I wanted to make music. And so at the age of 7, I started playing. At the age of 10, I started earning money from it by touring and teaching others. And And then by the age of 17, I went to the Royal College of Music. Um,
Amazing.
but I don't come from a background of parents who are particularly musical. Um, there is no sort of professional musicians in my family. My brother's a policeman and my sister works in cytogenetics. So and there's absolutely no rhyme or reason why I was put on this earth to make music, but I am, and I do.
I can tell.
Um, and yeah, it's been a real roller coaster of a journey.
You and I are one of the few lucky people. I did an interview with a guy that I have known for more than 20 years now. And I knew I was going to be in supply chain and finance. First, I like being in an office, and now with you, even if you are a complete fool, you're always going to have a job in those two sectors. So it's pretty safe. And he was like that. I graduated in Aalborg University in Denmark. I think he graduated in Birmingham or something. He was in England. I don't remember. Then we both came back home and we started pretty good companies. I'm still in one of those. And he burned out. Like at some point, he told me he was thinking about suicide. That's how crazy it was. Now he's one of the most successful music teachers, singing teachers. He has his own record, and he's being hired every now and then for those commercials, like one lines of singing and so on and so forth. So it's beautiful. It's ridiculously charging to talk to someone like you because I can totally feel it. It's amazing.
Well, thank you. I mean, I feel for your friend. It's
Yeah.
my being I think anybody actually, it's not just being a musician, but anybody working in the creative arts.
Yeah.
It is such an unusual space to be in, and unless you're working in it, you really can't understand what it's like. And I'm not saying it's the hardest job in the world, because, you know, people who are doctors and nurses and firefighters and in the army and those type of things. You know, I couldn't do that. I would be petrified and scared to 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 turn up to work every day. So it's I'm not saying waving a stick around as a conductor is hard like that. But there are different elements in life. It's not just black and white. It's not just, it's hard that way because you have to go and save somebody's life. It's hard in another way, which is, you know, if you're a policeman or a firefighter or in the army, you know what check you're going to get at the end of the month. You know how
Yeah.
much you're going to earn. You know what your career trajectory is probably like and where you want to end up. And being a musician or an artist or an author or a film star or an actor or anything in the creative arts, you get out of bed every day and there's nobody pushing you to do anything. And it could be so easy to lie in bed all day and not earn a single cent. And it's so tough to motivate yourself every single day to get up, to work, to find more work, to not be scared of just picking up the phone to people and saying, "Hello, it's me. Have you got any work to give to me?" Um, and what's more, I'm away from my home for 6 to 9 months of the year, which can also be quite tough and demanding.
That's why I have a job and you have a career. That's the main difference.
That is true. That is true. But hopefully, it it pays the bills,
Yeah.
and I love what I do.
Absolutely. My third question is, how did you knew that this was the way to go? You did said that, when you were the age of 7 and so on and so forth. However, you already had that experience. At the age of 17, you're already performing, you're already in the school that you wanted to be. So you've always had it in you, and you always, well, maybe not always, but from a very young age, you knew you had it in you.
Yeah,
But music industry is ridiculously wide. Like
yeah,
you can be an accountant in the music industry, you can be a
yeah,
PR agent in the music industry, you can be everything. It's a whole other aspect of business.
yeah,
So with the skills that you already have, the love for music, and every single one of you, people like you, you have this magnificent brain. It's not like mine. Mine is linear. It has to be done and it's in front of me. I can see it, and when I'm done with it, I don't even think about it. You guys are not like that. And it's not an offense, by the way. I admire you, look, all of you. You guys are. That's why I love talking to people like you. But with that kind of a mind and with the skills that you already had, you could have pretty much went into any direction of this industry. But you made a conscious decision to choose to do what you're doing. It wasn't a spontaneous one. It wasn't under pressure. You made that choice. Why?
Well, that's a really interesting question. I guess actually my choices have changed over the years, and one of the beautiful things about being in this industry is that, as you said, it is so wide. You can do different things. So, um, when I was 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, I wanted to become a classical concert pianist. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to tour the world playing piano. And that was my primary instrument. And when I went to the Royal College of Music, that was the intention I had, is to try and come out after 4 years of being a pianist. You could go and play with orchestras and record concertos and play around the world. And when I was at the Royal College, I realized it's really, really seriously difficult to make money doing that, unless you're the top, you know, 10, 15 players in the world. And
Okay.
B, to get to that top 10, 15 players in the world, um, you have to basically give up your life, full stop. You end up sitting in a practice room for 6 hours a day, playing the piano by yourself, and again you're touring around the world, and you're just isolated, and it just seemed to me a very stressful, harsh, lonely um, life, and I hated practice. I hate music practice, ironically,
Yeah.
and I just and as I was going through the Royal College, I just thought, "Do you know what? There has to be a better place for me to ply my trade." And I've always loved musical theatre. And I always said there's no reason why classical music has to be so highbrow. So if I can work in musical theatre, I can be a really good musician, classically trained, because there's a lot of people working in musical theatre who are not classically trained, and as
I
a
don't know.
consequence, as a consequence, their technique is not so great. So I thought if I can be one of the ones whose technique is good. And not only that, if I can be a bit of a champion of classical music, I love talking to audiences. Most musicians, when they go on stage, classical musicians, they don't talk to an audience. They go on, take a bow, sit down, play, take a bow, walk off again. I
Yeah.
hate that. There's nothing I love more than walking on stage and taking a bow, and the audience expect me to turn around and start playing or conducting, and all of a sudden I start talking. And I love doing that. So it's one of the things I've developed over the years is a skill set for talking to an audience and pretending they're my best friend and really getting them in the palm of my hand. So when I start playing the music, they understand some funny stories about the music or the composer or the history or whatever it might be. And that's just something which I realized I loved, and so that was the route I went down. And then I thought, well, now I'm doing all this performing, I'd quite like to do more recording. So I then went down the recording industry route and producing albums. And then as I was doing that, that called for me to do some orchestrations and some composition and writing for the orchestras. And I thought, well, I don't want to give that away to anybody else. I can do that. So I started then doing that. And it's just like it's a path. It's a wandering path. It's not a straight road. It'll turn left, it'll turn right, and you've got forks in the road and choices to make. And sometimes I get it wrong. Sometimes I get it right. But that's just part of life. And in 20 years' time, 30 years' time, I don't know, 2 years' time, I might be doing something radically different. And I'm okay with that. I mean, as I mentioned to you at the start, I'm now recording this world-class meditation music. That's new for me. 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I wasn't thinking about doing this. Nobody in the world has ever done this, has ever gone into Abbey Road Studios in London with a 96-piece symphony orchestra and a 40-piece choir and recorded meditation music. And we thought it would be a cool thing to do. And we knew it would cost an absolute fortune, but we thought, you know what? Hopefully people like it. So we're going to put a punt on it. We're going to throw about £150,000 onto this project, and hopefully people like it. And who knows? Maybe it won't sell anything. Maybe it'll take the world by storm. But if you don't try, you can't succeed.
I would like to encourage you to do that. And I there are three things I don't really like doing: reading, doing sports, and pretty much stuff that are good for you. I really don't like those, but I'm doing it because I have to. I have to be in a good shape. I have to know as much as possible. You know, that's why I'm doing it. And I was talking to a colleague of mine, and I said, I don't know what happened to me, but since the beginning of this year, normally I listen to specific music when I'm working out, and now I'm listening to like epic music, but from classical turning to an epic. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. I'm just not doing it justice explaining it correctly, but and I never actually thought about meditation because I don't do that, but I know a lot of people that are doing that. So if you guys can twist it in that way, uh, it's gonna work. And when I told my colleague about it, he said, "Yeah, I've been doing this for about a year too." So now I'm talking to people every now and then about that. A lot of people are like that. And turns out they're like 1 hour YouTube mix or something. So from there, but yeah, I think you guys are onto something. I think it will be pretty solid.
I mean, Danny, the interesting thing about meditation is that pretty much no child ever meditates. They don't need to actually, because the beauty about being a child typically is that they live in the moment.
Yeah,
They don't think about yesterday, and they're definitely not thinking about tomorrow. They're thinking about right now. And as adults, we lose that capability. Well, no, that's not fair. We still have the capability, but we forget to use it.
yeah,
And the interesting thing of your statement is I don't do meditation, but I know some people who do. Of course, most adults don't do meditation until they do,
yeah,
because it's not something you grow up with. So I would really encourage you to maybe tonight or tomorrow sit there. It's not scary. Do 3 minutes or 4 minutes of literally sitting there doing nothing. Close your eyes, just let your mind think, let your mind wander. The beauty about meditation and the scary thing is people think, oh, I don't know how to do it. Actually, doing it is in a strange way really easy. It's when you try and formalize it, it's really hard. So just get a bit of music you love, doesn't matter what. Turn it
yeah.
on and just say for the entire length of that track, 4 minutes or whatever, I'm going to do nothing. I'm going to close my eyes and I'm just going to sit there. And at the end of the 4 minutes, open them, done. And that's your first meditation practice. I would thoroughly encourage you to try it out and just see how you feel afterwards. And it might be you feel nothing at all, but it might also be you feel a bit refreshed and revitalized and a bit energized and think, I might try that again tomorrow. You never know. Give it a go.
True, and I've been doing something similar for a few years now. I don't. There's this German philosopher. I love him. I read a lot of his articles. His name is Eckhart Tolle. I don't listen to his interviews because, and I have a heavy accent to it myself. But no, I can't stand this German accent. I love the German people, history, culture, everything about it. But this accent is too much for me. I can't. I'm just reading it. And he started something. I mean, I started because of him. He has this philosophy. It's called observe your thoughts, but don't believe them. And I'm pretty much doing it 15 to 20 minutes before I go to sleep, 15 to 20 minutes when I wake up. And it really helps, but I don't know if this classifies as a meditation. But I'm just sitting here, it's quiet, there's nothing around me, and I'm just, observing, and that's about it. I have very, very heavy Wednesdays very often. So I'm doing that during the day when I can. But it sure helps.
Well, that to me sounds like meditation.
I didn't know it was called that. I thought meditation was when you have to like relax your whole body and envision the future, a bright future, and so on and so forth.
It can be, but that's a bit like saying, well, um, I don't know, the only music is rap music. And if I hear classical music, I go, no, that's not music. It might that there's different ways, different genres of music. There's different genres of meditation. And there is no right or wrong. It's just whatever works for you. It's kind of as simple as that, which
Yeah.
is the beauty of it.
No, different people, different medicinal blueprint. Robert, I have a fourth question. I never tell him about that, and I never put in the description because I love the reaction way too much. My audience is mostly people that are sitting here. Is this job for me? Is this college for me? Is this university for me? If you can give those people one advice, what will it be?
Well, I think I would answer it in two parts because I think is a job or for me is a really different question than is this university or college for me.
Fair.
So I'll split it up into two, and I'll start with the university college. Is it for me? I think the most important thing is when you're finding if you've chosen that you want to go to uni and you want to go to college, and you're struggling to find which one to go to. I think, and I know this is going to sound really silly, but a lot of it is trust your gut feeling.
It's good.
Is to I applied for the Royal Academy of Music and I applied for the Royal College of Music, two separate institutions in London. And on paper, I looked at the Royal Academy and I went, yeah, that's the place for me. And I went there and I felt like it was such a bad vibe. It was like so not me. It was quite formal and snooty and a guy who I spoke to, I said, "Can I get a bit of advice, please?" And he looked at his iPhone and he went, "Well, I could fit you in at 7 minutes past 4 on a Tuesday." And I thought, no, forget it. I mean, yeah, it wasn't me. And I went into the Royal College of Music the next day, and it just felt friendly, and I felt at home. And on paper, it wasn't as good as an institution at that time. It is now. But nevertheless, it just felt right. And there was absolutely no reason apart from the idiot who I met with his iPhone. Um, and so I think follow your gut feeling. You can look at what's right on paper. You can say which course you think is going to be the most amazing for you. But if you go into that university and you meet the staff and the team and the buildings, and if it does not set you on fire, if it doesn't light you up in your belly, it's probably not the right place for you. And just go and find somewhere else. Um, in terms of a job, is this job going to be right for me? Well, I think we can all take a lesson um from my 9-year-old son, Teddy, and he has tried three musical instruments, and each time he just said, "Daddy, I'm gonna try it for a bit, and if it works, and if I like it, I'll stick with it, and if after 4, 5, 6 months of me trying, I just don't feel the buzz from it. I'll give up and I'll try another one. Is that okay?" And I went, "Yep, perfect, son. Absolutely perfect." And I think we can all learn a lot from a 9-year-old Teddy.
Yeah,
The
that's a
nice
wise
thing,
kid.
yeah, the nice thing about a job is you don't have to do that job. You might need the money. That's a whole different ball game. In which
Yeah.
case, work at the job whilst you find something else to do, and have an overlap. But nobody's forcing you for the rest of your life to build walls or to make tables or um, to work in McDonald's. Nobody is forcing you to do that. There are millions of alternatives. So is the job right for me? Who knows? Try it out for a bit. If it's not, find another job. Simple as that.
I love it. I've been in that situation myself, but back then I had this, and I didn't know, I don't even know where it came from, but I had this ego problem. Because I actually, again, I knew that I was going to be an office guy, mathematics, finance, supply chain. That's what I love, it's what I do. But a friend of mine gave me for my birthday a course for CCNA Cisco. And when you graduated, you're a, what was it, a network architect. That sounds pretty good, and I loved it. It sounded really good. And I quit my job and I went working as, as that. And I was one of the most miserable 4 months in my entire life. I knew what I was doing, I knew how to handle the tasks, but I was miserable every hour of that day. And I took that misery home with me, which was, even worse. So that kid of yours, that he's going place. He's amazing.
Let's hope so. I think so.
Right on. And with that said, Robert, thanks for being with me. You're an amazing guy. Please send me everything so that I can put it in the description below.
I will. Thank you so much, Danny. Have a great day.
Bye. Guys, I hope this one was useful. Please follow the channel on YouTube, Rumble, Twitter, Gap, LinkedIn, and Facebook. Ring the bell and all the good stuff. Have a nice week ahead, and I'll see you next Sunday.